each passing day, I think the world sees the value of India. Our human resources will be much more critical for the global economy. I've been in foreign policy now for 45 years. This was not what it was 45 years ago. Today, I'll be very honest with you, the world is very polarized. Many of the issues that I put, they sound very measured when I use the words that I did. But for a lot of countries, these are very passionate issues about which they have very strong feelings. Even having everybody in the room was a real challenge in the last G20 meeting in Bali. So, a country like India, which is independent-minded, which, in a sense is respected, to a great extent is trusted, which has a kind of a middle ground to bring differing parties to the table. And it's not just us alone. We work with other countries. We were, for example, very supportive of the Indonesian presidency in Bali. I think the value for countries who are in the middle, who are good at forging common ground, who have multiple relationships, I think that has grown in a polarized world. And my sense is the value of the Indian presidency will be demonstrated precisely because we have that trait. Till 2008, G20 started in 2008. Till 2008, there was something called the G7. Briefly, it was the G8. So, they took in Russia, then they took out Russia. And the belief was that the big world issues, the global issues, would be decided by the most developed countries who were the G7, who were primarily northern countries. This was basically Europe and North America together. And they found when there was a crisis in 2008 that it was not possible for them anymore to produce realistic responses to that global financial crisis. So G20 itself is a statement that the status quo has to evolve, that it has to change. But because it changed from G7 to G20, it doesn't mean that is the last word. It is just one step in the change of that status quo. Now, just think to yourself, I'm now going maybe just 6, 7, 8 years by the end of the decade. By the end of the decade, for sure, we'll be the most populous country. Almost certainly will be the third largest economy in the world. Our human resources by 2030 in a knowledge economy, in a world which is dominated by artificial intelligence, our human resources will be much more critical for the global economy. Now, tell me, if that is the situation, how long will we be kept out of the crucial decisions on running of the world? So I would say, in a way, time is on my side. That with each passing day, I've been in foreign policy now for 45 years. This was not what it was 45 years ago. But with each passing day, I think the world sees the value of India. And a lot of that would depend how we do at home. You know, the more we do at home, after all, look at the crucial issues today before the G20. Health. Okay. Why is the world respecting India today? Because we could produce vaccines, because we could have the vaccines, you know, as shots in the arm, because we had a platform to organize that, because we had digital delivery to take care of people's financial and food needs while all of this was happening. So similarly, they look at digital. In the old days, for them, digital was the back office. Today, they know digital, India's role in digital is much more than that. We are actually, in a way, an exemplar of how we are delivering on the ground, that last mile delivery that I spoke about. Now, it could be in other areas. We are, in our entire region, we are seen as the first responder. When the tsunami happened in 2004, people turned to America and to Japan and Europe. Today, if something happens in the Indian Ocean, they look and turn to us and say, where is India? So, the status quo by definition is not tenable. There will be countries with vested interest who will seek to slow it down. We all know who they are. Our effort would be to make sure, and the G20 presidency will give us an opportunity to demonstrate to the world that, this is India. After 75 years, we have arrived at this situation. The next 25 years, these are the possibilities we can do. So that is why I said, we have to make the world India ready. And for that, all of you have to contribute in your own way.